Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm putting together my October TBR, and this month I want to focus on favorites. I've been having kind of an iffy reading year this year. If you've seen my channel at all recently, you may know that already, that I've been slipping hard on and off throughout the year. I've had these periods where I'll read like a lot, and then I just read nothing at all for like a month. So I really haven't found a lot of favorites this year as a result. I've been reading a lot of books that are like 2, 3, and 4 stars. I found some authors that I want to read more from. I've learned more about what I like and don't like in books, but I just haven't been finding many favorites. I think I've had 2 5 stars so far this year, and I've already beat my 36 books reading goal for the year. So that's kind of disappointing, and I want to try and find some more favorite books. So that's what we're going to be focusing on for October. It's my favorite month in my favorite season. I love fall, and Halloween's my favorite holiday, so it's a lot of favorites converging. I feel like that's a sign that this should go well. We're going to pretend that that's true, and I'm going to be reading some books from my favorite authors, favorite series, and favorite genres, and then also some of my favorite people have recommended me some books that I'm going to pick up. So we'll start with favorite authors and get this one over with because it's one that you're going to be sick of seeing if you've been around my channel for a while. So Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. This has been on so many TBRs this year. I even read like half of it a while back, but I got this one as an ARC and I never finished it because I got it like a week before the book came out, and then I just moved on to other things and forgot to actually finish the book. So I'm going to be restarting this one, and I'm really excited. I really enjoyed what I'd read of it so far. I suspect I'll fly through that first half again, and I'm looking forward to seeing if this one's going to be a 5-star for me. It was looking like a strong contender when I read it before, but this is a vampire story. We are following a vampire called Goodstab as he is narrating his life story to a preacher in the Midwest, and that preacher is writing it down in his journal, so we're also getting like his story. It's Arthur. And then many years in the future, kind of more modern day, we're following Arthur's like great-great-granddaughter as she is using his journal for her academic research. So it's a kind of multi-year, multi-timeline story. I want to say multi-generational. It sort of is, but it's really just 2 generations of a family, and then also there's Goodstab. But, you know, kind of this long-running, long timeline historical horror that sounds really fun, and I really enjoyed what I read of it so far. I think Goodstab is a really compelling character to follow, and I just enjoyed the way that Stephen Graham Jones writes. Like, I just have a great time every time, so I'm really, really hopeful that this one's going to be a 5-star. Then we have The Bewitching by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is another book that hasn't had as an ARC earlier in the year and didn't get to. This one I have not started, but this is another one where we're following like multiple people across time. This is 3 different women who encounter a witch, or possibly multiple witches, I'm unclear, but there's some sort of encounter with a witch or witchcraft across time, and our main character is a woman in the 90s who is a graduate student studying literature. And I'm just really intrigued by that. I want to know what Sylvia Moreno Garcia is going to do with an academic setting and the sort of academic context of this story. And I just really enjoy everything she writes. She writes across so many different genres. I've read books from her from a few different genres and really enjoyed all of them. So I really am excited to pick this one up, especially because it's like perfect dark academia feeling vibes for fall. Then we've got an old favorite that I haven't read from in a while, which is Jane Austen, and I'm going to try and read Emma. I think the last book of hers I read was Persuasion back in like 2023 while I was doing my master's degree, so it's just been too long since I picked up one of her books because I just always have such a good time with her writing. She has the wittiest characters. She will just make up a guy to be mean to him, and I love that, and so I know I'm going to have a good time with this one, and I felt like I was going to do Emma next because there's like that film adaptation that came out a few years ago that I kind of want to watch, and I never did because I hadn't read the book, and also it just sounds like a fun one. Lastly, in favorite authors, I want to read What Stalks the Deep by T. Kingfisher. This is the 3rd book in the Sworn Soldier series, and it comes out I think at the end of September. I've already pre-ordered it. I'm gonna get my hands on it, and I'm gonna read it immediately. I really enjoy this series. This is about Alex, who's a sworn soldier in a sort of fictional European country, and in this particular installment, they are traveling to America to help out their friend Dr. Denton, who has a cousin who's gone missing in a coal mine. And it sounds like it's going to be really creepy. I really like the vibes of this series. I really like Alex as a character and their relationship to Angus, who is their, I can't remember the word for it, but like sort of personal assistant guy. I don't remember the word. We're going to move on from that. But I really enjoy these. They're really interesting every time, and I like the way that T. Kingfisher writes horror. So I have a good feeling. I think I'm going to love it. So moving on from there, we're going to talk about some of my favorite series, which is more accurately books where I really loved the first book in the series, and now I really need to continue on. The first one is actually a series ender though, because I want to read A Power Unbound by Freya Marsk, which is the last book in the Last Binding series. I read A Restless Truth earlier this year, and that was one of my 2 5-stars that I've gotten so far this year. So that bodes very well for A Power Unbound, especially because I'm really interested in the 2 characters who are at the center of this one. This is a fantasy historical romance series, and it's following various like magicians and some non-magicians who kind of get caught up in the mix, and there's like a conspiracy going on in the background. It's just a fun time. They're very spicy, they're very bantery, and I love them. They're just wonderful books. I love the way Freya Marsk writes description. I love the way she writes characters. Her plots are always really interesting. So I'm very excited, and I have very high hopes that I'm going to end this series having given every book 5 stars. The next 2 are kind of like the Buffalo Hunter Hunter. You're probably sick of hearing them, but we have The Fractured Dark by Megan E. O'Keefe, which is the 2nd book in the Devoured World series, and Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie, which is the 2nd book in the First Law series. Both of these I absolutely loved. The first book in these series, they were some of my favorite first books that I've read, so that's kind of the connection there. I believe I gave The Blighted Stars 5 stars, and I gave The First Law, The Blade itself, not The First Law. That's the name of the first book. 4.5, I think. So I really enjoyed the starts of these series. I really want to continue on with them, and I have high hopes for these sequels. And finally, our last category is books recommended by some of my favorite people. 2 of my best friends have both recently recommended a book to me, books that they've just like raved about, and we'll start with the one that I was going to read earlier this year. I'm circling back to something I meant to do earlier this year, and that is Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. One of my best friends, we both bought this book at the same time while she was visiting, and she went home and read it like immediately and raved to me about it, said it was just so good and so fun, so I really need to pick this one up, and this allows me to circle back around to the Sapphic horror vlog that I meant to do earlier in the year. I am planning to continue forward with that, and that is going to involve this book. Also, Eat the Ones You Love, which is somewhere back there, but for the purposes of this video, this is the one that my friend recommended, so I highly trust her review, and I am excited to dive in. And then the other one is A Natural History of Dragons by Maria Brennan. This one, another one of my best friends, but this is my best friend from middle school. This is my best friend from high school. I've known both of them for many years, and my best friend from high school recommended me this one. She read, I think, the full series already, but we were book shopping together, and we happened to see this on the shelf, and she was like, I don't want to tell you to spend more money, but like you should spend more money and buy the first book in A Natural History of Dragons, because our library doesn't always have them, and it's just really fantastic. So this is a sort of like, I think it's 18th century or 19th century, I think 19th century sounds correct, inspired fantasy world, and we're following Lady Trent, who is a biologist, and she studies dragons, and it's like her journals telling about her adventures and her like studies and her travels and all of these things, and it just sounds really fun. And my friend absolutely raved about this. She said it's fantastic. She thinks it'll be right up my alley. I think given my love of like Jane Austen and some other 19th century literature, I think she's probably correct, and I'm really excited to dive into this one and give it a try. So these are all of the books I'm going to try and read in October, plus a couple probably for the Sapphic horror vlog. Editing Hope here. I completely forgot that I'm also going to be reading Wayward by Amelia Hart, which is the current pick for the workbook club that I'm in. That's our October book. I don't know exactly what I'm going to get to, so I'm treating this more as a hopefuls list than a full, like, I'm going to read these books kind of TBR. But I think that all of these have a strong chance of being a 5-star read, and I'm hoping that getting through some of these will help me feel reinvigorated and ready to continue reading, and hopefully I'll just have a really great reading month. So that's it. That's what I've got for you today. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these and what you thought of them. And I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'll help you consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting on Tuesdays and Saturdays, or at least twice a week, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.